realize that this was turned off. Okay, so we're turned back on now. So this chart here, we talked about it yesterday, and I think we need to talk about it a little more today. I'm certainly going to do that in the Hit Run Candlesticks room. And what this is the white line is the T line. That's all it is. It's the 8 exponential moving average. The red and green dots, that is nothing more than the 17 exponential moving average. That's it. We just figured out a clever way to turn it red and green on TC2000, okay? So, if we take a look at the daily chart here, as good as price was yesterday, and price was amazing. It really, really was. We didn't change the trend, not one tiny bit. Trend did not change. You can see that because the slower, faster moving average is still below the slower moving average. The white is below the red, and the red is still red. Now, if we look over here, when the white moves above that line, the 17, or what we call the trend indicator, then it turns green. That tells me, based on my strategy, my rules, my system, and Rosa, Wade, Michael, Maureen, Gregor, Julie, Jack, JW, all might have a different system, and there's not a doggone thing wrong with that. It's your system. Work your system. So I'm going to work my system. And if we turn green here, I will be bullish. If we stay red, I will be bearish. I should say the majority of the charts. I might still trade some bullish charts down here. We traded some energy the last few days and killed it. Wiped the floor up with it. There could be even some bearish trades if we break out here. The whole point I'm trying to make here is take your stand. Okay, now you guys all know that I'm not a headlines person. I don't care what the feds do. I don't care what Mr. Jamie Dimon says. Good Lord. He puts his pants on just like everybody here, one leg at a time. You've got just as much information as he does. In fact, I think you have more information because your information is not guessing down the road. Your information is factual. Do we have a little trend here? We do. Have we turned bearish? Yes, we have. Did we turn bullish here? No, we did not. Now, to get those green dots, price had to be up here. That doesn't make this a bullish chart because my moving averages hasn't crossed over. Remember, this is just my system. So, could, price being up here, let me draw this here. Price being up here, because it had to be there to turn those dots green. It had to be. So with price up here, could we have gone up higher? We could have. But I wasn't going to make that big decision until we confirmed right here. So I'm not going to be overly bullish till we confirm down here. This is the daily chart. I want to go to the hourly chart. Look at the hourly chart. We have confirmed bullish. So if you were an hourly chart watcher, if you were willing to say, okay, predominantly you're a daily chart, but I will follow the hourly chart if it has turned out and worked. Okay, let's give it a go. As long as that trend is a trend, it is a trend. Doesn't matter what time frame you use. You can use any time frame you want. As long as it's a trend. Just be careful when it's not a trend. And remember that the bigger trend is still down. The weekly is still down, a long way from changing. The daily is still down at the open of this market. Now, I can't predict what's going to do later today. But if you just simply followed the simple little strategy, or strategy similar maybe, then you would see, based on an hourly chart, that would have turned bullish, you could have traded long. This would have turned bearish, you could have traded bearish, or you could have traded long, you trade long, and then just get out of your longs. And if you're not a bearish trader, don't trade. Not until something happens. Or vice versa. If you're not a bullish trader, don't trade. Maybe, get some charts on the watch list ready to go, and then boom, rock and roll here. Okay, let's do one more thing. So let's do this. I don't particularly use this style, measured moves. I don't particularly do it. I'm not against it. It's just not something that I, every day I look at, well, this is a measured move from here. I'm aware of it. I can see it many times. I just don't particularly talk about it. Well, let's look at some measured moves here. If we were just to take that dot, green dot, and come up here to that green dot, that's our bullish section right there. And then come over here and put it on that green dot. Well, I mean, like I said, somebody that's into the measured move thing, there you go, right there. We can duplicate, let me make this a little smaller. We can duplicate this. And if we wanted to double that measured move, you can do this. We can, now, let's do this. Let's take this, and let's take this red dot, and let's give ourselves a measured move to the downside. So if we start to fail, wherever we fail, now we can put this, let's say it's right here today. Right there today. Now that's just taking a measured move from here. Isn't it kind of cool, Julie? But what we have to do is just focus on charts. I swear, I stay awake at nights. Not as much as I used to, but I used to spend all night just looking at charts, coming up with things like this. How can we break down a chart? What can we look for? But right there, for those that dig the whole measured move thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, it's so much faster. And then you can come over here to your day. In fact, let's change this to a daily chart. Look at that. There's our daily chart. Measured moves right there. And we're just using the 60-minute. And you can do that on the daily too. I mean, you can do the measured moves on the daily. I'm just not sure that we're going to see bullishness. I mean, if we did this for the daily, we'll split those two. If we did that for the daily here, we're looking. Let's see, where were we? I guess it'd be about. I guess prices. I guess maybe right about here. I'm just not sure that's the move I'm looking for on this relief rally. I'm looking for something a little more realistic, and I think using that 60-minute chart might be a tad more realistic, and then we can always adjust as we go, depending on what price does. Anyway, it's just an idea. The biggest thing, I think, is just focus on the trend. That's all we have to do. You're bullish, you're bearish, you're bullish, you're bearish, you're bullish, you're bearish. We haven't turned bullish. Now, with this, you will not be a bottom picker. You can't, I mean, if it's not there, it's not there. Even if you look at an hourly chart, I guess you could go down faster. Look at that 15-minute. Could you have looked at some bullish moves in here? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if that's what you're going to dance with. So, anyway, it's Friday. Let's be cautious. Let's think about it. I have no trade ideas today, so I'm tossing it out. We have about 10 minutes. If anybody has some charts you want to look at, let's take a peek. Thank you, and good morning again to everybody. Glad you're all here. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So is there anyone looking for any charts? Up, down, sideways? Let's take a peek at AMD, just because I know that a lot of people are watching this. AMD, that's funny. That's we're thinking the same thing there, Julie. At the same time. Okay. Either that or you're looking over my shoulder. I'm looking over yours. So let's look at AMD. Candlestick patterns. Know your candlestick patterns. There's only half a dozen or so. There really are. Candlestick signals, there's 15, give or take one or two, depending on what you want to look at. That's all you have to know. And once you know those, you can see them being created, and then you can look forward a little bit. You can look forward a little bit, knowing what it could be. So I look at this chart, and what I see, where's my arrow? Red arrow. What I see is a down move, a sideways move, and we could possibly get that up move. That creates what they call a cradle pattern. As far as I know, unless somebody tells me different, I'll have to give that credit to Steve Bigelow. To my knowledge, he's the person that named it that. I could be wrong, but I'm going to give that credit to him. Very nice chart pattern, by the way. Very, very nice. A good bullish chart pattern, reversal pattern here. What we need to do is just wait for that breakout. We don't have to be an early buyer. I think there's some great looking targets above. In fact, we'll just put one right here. Great looking targets above. Our biggest thing is we have to make sure the market is still working. Let's take this chart down to the I'll go hourly. Look at that hourly. So are we tradable on the hourly? Yes, we are. Are we tradable on the daily? No, we're not. So we could trade that hourly. We could say, okay, we're going to look at AMD and we're going to trade AMD. And as long as AMD continues to build, as long as it continues to build on that hourly, and it's okay, because at some point price might sneak up and then price might sneak back. But as long as that trend indicator is green, it's building on the hourly. As it builds on the hourly, it can most definitely build into the daily. Once the daily turns, you could stay with the hourly if you want, or you could work with the daily chart. Your choice on that. So yeah, keep an eye on AMD. 3 little dojis, great big bullish engulf here. So far we have follow through, but we still have a daily downtrend, okay? Let's see, Ron, ERX. Nice trend up, good bottom, good head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders here. Energy is still hot. Energy, there's nothing wrong with energy. In fact, yeah, pre-market here, it looks like it's doing pretty well. No, that wasn't it. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it looks like it's working good. Your choice here is you're either a breakout buyer or you're a pullback buyer. But overall, the trend is working. We can come over here if you want that feel-good confirmation. There you go, right there. There you go. What else do we have here? AGYS. Let's start right here. Okay, I would say offhand, and this could change, by the way, without looking at the price, chart with price action on it. I'm gonna take a stance here and say that you're looking at it long. It looks like it to me. We've got our confirmation if you follow this kind of a trend. Let's go look at this chart now. Whoops, this chart. There we go. Look at that. Nice, moving up. Nice trend. We're breaking out over here, sort of, kind of. That's working. Remember, the trend is your friend. It really, really is. The trend is your best friend. And follow that trend, and then put those little tricks in there to get that entry. I want to come over here and let's look at that hourly chart. We're just turning. I like that. This gives me that, I'm just really sweet move. Look at that trend right here that could have been traded, and might not want to be in it to the long side. Nice chart overall. Let's see. CVNA. Let's start right here. Look how the bottom is starting to roll. Forget about what price does right now, anyway. Look how we're just, you take price and you smooth it out. Look how we're starting to roll to the upside. Is this 60 minute? 60 minute is given a nice little move up. You know, I kind of like this one here. Let's draw a line in here. Oh, not quite there. Man, we're close, aren't we? What I want to do is I'm going to put, in fact, here, let's do this. We'll make it work for us. I'm going to put that line about the middle of that dot. And look where we are here. So here we have this bullish W pattern without looking at price. Look at that. How sweet. That's a nice chart. I haven't seen price yet, but as far as the thought of the chart, you can see what the chart is thinking here. Price sometimes is wild and crazy. And sometimes you can't see what the chart is thinking. But if you do something like this, it smooths it out. You can see what the chart is thinking. So I see right here, just using this high, I see where the T-line has broke above, T-line's higher, and we're right at that point with the trend indicator. Now let's go take a look at the chart inside. And let's go look at the hourly, and then we'll come back and look at the daily. Here's the hourly, charting to spin up here over the 50-period moving average. Here's the daily, putting some bottoms in. We're not bullish on the daily, not even remotely. So here's your decision. Are you gonna yank on this on the hourly, try to put something together, or are you gonna wait for the daily to work out? And that's, you know, that's the decision you have to make. And when you, whatever decision you make, you have to have something to back it up. So to back this up, why not look at that chart right there? Why not? Why do we like this chart? We like this chart because it's pulled up over the bullish W pattern right here. We like this chart because it's green. Dots are green. We like it because the T-line's above the green dots. I think that right there answers everything on where you would not like this chart. Right in there. Perfect. Okay, it's time for me to shut it down here. I'll be back in about 20 minutes. Yes, 20 minutes. Market will open up. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you listening to this rant and looking at this chart here. Anybody that can do a chart like this, I truly, truly, truly think it would be helpful to you. It just really smooths things out a little bit, and it's a little more truthful than price action just by itself. Okay, see everybody in about 20.